You are flowing right now. You are just on a ball. You're flowing. You're in the groove. I don't know other sayings that are the same about that, but it feels like you are just on the ball. You are, kind of getting stuff done. And then all of a sudden another idea comes in and you're getting things done. And the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing. And it's kind of like everything is flowing together really well, back to back, one thing after the other. And you're not feeling stressed about this. You're not feeling overwhelmed about this. You're handling this really well. And it feels like everything is just running very smoothly. You're kind of in a flow state. And it does feel like you've kind of put in a lot of work to get here. You've put in a lot of time and a lot of effort to get to this point. The other thing that's coming through is kind of like a nervous system regulation piece where I feel like when you're looking at yourself now compared to where you were in the past, you're recognizing that you maybe weren't able to handle or do some of the things you've been able to do lately. So it feels like there are certain things that you're doing right now really effortlessly that in the past you struggled with, or in the past were a lot harder or like a lot more overwhelming. And you're just not feeling overwhelmed by these things anymore. And it shows how much healing you've done and also how much nervous system regulation healing you've done. And because you've been able to do so much work on yourself, it's making these things just kind of feel as easy as butter, floating on like butter. I don't know why that's coming through, but I'm seeing like thanks to margin or whatever. Can't believe it's not butter, right? Maybe that's significant for somebody, but it's like kind of just really easily spreading. Like things are just easily kind of like coming on. Where in the past it feels like that has not always been the case. And it feels like you're seeing yourself from a more like compassionate and loving perspective and space as well. And that's partially what's making this a lot easier, and things to be able to move smoother and in more of a flow is that you are kind of being more self-compassionate and kind with yourself. You're more easygoing. You used to be really hard on yourself and very critical, and it feels like there's been a turning point probably within the last couple of months is what it feels like, where you've been able to be a lot easier on yourself. You're not as harsh on yourself. And so the comeback time from making a mistake or even learning something is happening a lot faster because you're not as perfectionistic and hard on yourself. But the bounce back time when you do make a mistake or you do have to do something again is a lot quicker because you're not being hard on yourself about it. Because whatever was happening around how you were being tough on yourself and critical with yourself, it feels like that's coming to an end. You're moving on from that. You're closing out that cycle. And with the moon at the bottom, it feels like there was some type of subconscious programming that you're closing out, that you're saying no more to, that you're not buying into anymore. This does feel like very much kind of perfectionistic kind of things, where you were the type of person who maybe overthought things before you did them, and taking action was much harder, where you're actually taking action more now and feeling more able to take action without the overthinking piece as much. It feels like you're closing out something in this space when it comes to some type of unconscious block that was occurring. It does feel like it's associated with kind of like your self-talk and how you're talking to yourself though, and like how you're seeing yourself, right? So how you're seeing yourself, like notice how she's looking in the water at a reflection. Like you're just seeing yourself so differently, and because you're seeing yourself so differently, you're starting to move differently. And it feels like you're truly seeing yourself for who you actually are and who you're capable of becoming, where it feels like that has not always been the case for you. It just feels like there was a lot of like deprogramming you had to do around how you saw yourself and how you spoke to yourself and how you viewed yourself. So I'm just like, I don't know, I'm picking up on like definitely a lot of like negative self-talk that used to invade your mind, or judgments, even, or like ways that you are just really hard on yourself. And that's being cleared right now. And so you're transforming, you're upgrading, you're transforming. You're in the process of becoming this new energy where the Queen of Wands energy, right? Magnetic, magical, master manifester. Like you're becoming and stepping into this energy, and your system is upgrading. This is coming in really quickly. So it does feel like you could be going through some type of upgrades right now. You could be experiencing some ascension symptoms. I'm feeling like kind of like maybe emotional bursts, like random emotional um, responses or random emotional feelings coming out of nowhere that are just kind of like pinging you. And that could be an ascension symptom that you're experiencing. Body chills, hot flashes happening more regularly is what I'm feeling. Pressure behind the nose is another one that's coming up. So like pineal gland pressure, where this is a clearing that's happening to clear out your third eye so that your intuition can be a little bit sharper. And yeah, you're closing out a cycle and you're opening up a new cycle into, success, recognition, acknowledgement, being seen, right? Um, and if you notice, they're both the circles, right? You're closing out a pretty massive cycle that feels like it probably was a part of your life for most of your life. This cycle around like being really hard on yourself. I'm kind of hearing um the idea that like if I'm, excuse me, confirmation, if I'm not hard on myself, then I'll get lazy or I won't get things done. Like there was some type of belief in here that you're shifting, changing, transforming, that you actually have overcome. And when I see this card right here, I'm thinking about learning lessons. So it feels like this has been a lot of lessons that you've been learning over the course of many years. But it does feel like I just saw the 3-3 portal. Um, so it does feel like maybe this transition really started to happen, or you started to feel this transition within this eclipse season. Um, and maybe really started to notice it on the 3-3 portal. It does feel like maybe this is also what rose up for you during eclipse season, was like the idea of how you're talking to yourself, and how that's actually not moving you forward, but it's holding you back in some ways and kind of hurting your motivation and confidence. So it does feel like throughout this last eclipse season, you definitely felt an increase in self-confidence and an increase in self-trust. Um, Throughout it, like at different points in time throughout it. Let's see what else. You're definitely holding on to like hope of, ooh, oh, look at that. You're coming into balance. So you're kind of coming into this idea that, you know, you're rebalancing, right? You've actually integrated part of your shadow and you're rebalancing out in a really beautiful way. And it's bringing towards you a lot of hope for the future. Like it does feel like there's a part of you that's feeling like childlike and excited again for the future in a way that maybe you have not felt in a very, very long time. And it does feel like this is the energy that you're moving away from, is the holding on to. um it feels like you were holding on to a lot of things that you learned growing up that you're finally getting rid of. So we're going to throw that card because we're done with that. That's what it feels like you're like letting go of. Like these were things that you held on to very tightly to protect and guard yourself, but you're not feeling the need to do that anymore. And there's a part of you that's like kind of engaging in this childlike energy again, and this exciting energy of like what the future holds. And that's actually bringing towards you a really beautiful new beginning. And it's coming in pretty quickly with this chariot. But I am noticing that there is a lot of light and dark um, cards. And then I also mentioned the eclipse. So it does feel like you really integrated a part of your shadow that is going to actually really move you forward. And you're definitely feeling more in tune and in touch with your own intuition and your own feelings, which this is bringing me back to the thing I said earlier about how it feels like there's probably some feelings coming up for you right now. Spurts of random feelings. May that be like really excited feelings or feeling really a lot of gratitude and appreciation. Maybe just like random bouts of sadness. But those things are coming up to be released so that you can close out the cycle, is what I'm hearing. So I do want to see what we got for advice from Spirit in regards to where you are in your journey, which is in a really beautiful spot. So let me pull in the card I threw. Let me pull this deck out and see. I'm going to use the Clarifying Life Situations deck. And let's see what advice Spirit has for you right now with everything that's going on. I am hearing that this is the time for you to acknowledge how far you've come and really like take in the beauty of the moments, the beauty of the day to day, and let yourself feel good in little moments. Well, what else do we have for advice here? So it does feel like you are receiving a lot of like insight right now and a lot of ideas and information on what to do next and how to move forward. So it says learning secrets. So make sure that you're kind of sitting with yourself and listening to yourself and listening to what is coming up for you. May that be that you do that in meditation or you do that in journaling or you do that when you drink your coffee looking outside or whatever, right? Um, Make sure that you're kind of listening to what your intuition is telling you right now because there's a lot of information that you're receiving right now about next steps and what to do next. And oh my gosh, I got this card the other day. That's so interesting. You're aligned with your highest dreams right now and your ideals to find success. So you're truly aligned. So just keep listening. Just keep paying attention to the insights. Just keep letting yourself enjoy the little moments. Let yourself rest. Let yourself be. There's nowhere to rush to, there's nowhere to go right now. And just know that as time goes on, you will receive the information as you need it. So try to let yourself enjoy a little bit of the downtime, a little bit of the time that is in between. Don't overwork yourself, but let yourself be open and available to receive all of the information and guidance that you are receiving. So, if this resonated with you, leave me in the comments a sun because brighter days are coming for you. If you're ready to stop repeating the same patterns and actually be able to start a new cycle and shift identities, then my coaching is for you. You can go to crystalclearmystic.com. I love you. And just know your next level is only a decision away.